Let's look at how widely the costs of land transfer tax or property registration fees vary across Canada. According to the Canadian Real Estate Association, the average price for Canadian homes sold in March of 2017 was $548,517. Now, in some neighborhoods, that will buy you a crack shack, while in others, you'll be living in a mini castle. But let's round that number to $550,000 and use that to compare what the cost would be in land transfer taxes or property registration fees you would have to pay on closing in a few different locations across Canada. If you were in British Columbia, you would have a provincial land transfer tax to pay. That tax is calculated as 1% on the first $200,000 of the house price, 2% on the amount between $200,000 and $2 million, and you would pay 3% on any amount over $2 million. So we would pay 1% on the first $200,000, which equals $2,000, plus 2% on the balance of $350,000, which equals $7,000, for a total of $9,000. Alberta uses a property registration fee as well as a mortgage registration fee. For the property registration fee, there is a flat charge of $50 plus $1 per $5,000 of the house price. So in our case, we would have the flat charge of $50 plus $1 per $5,000 times $550,000. which equals $110 for a total of $160. But remember, there is also a mortgage registration fee that goes to the provincial government. It has the same schedule, but is based on the mortgage balance, not the house price. If your mortgage balance was $450,000, then we would take $50 plus $1 per $5,000 times $450,000. which equals $90 for a total of $140. Adding these two components up gives us $300. That is quite a bit cheaper than the $9,000 in BC. If you were buying a $550,000 home in Toronto, you not only have a provincial land transfer tax to pay, you also have a municipal land transfer tax to pay. And Toronto is currently the only city in Canada where this municipal land transfer tax applies to all purchases. Here's the schedule of provincial land transfer taxes. The first $55,000 has a rate of 0.5%, which equals $275. The next band from $55,000 to $250,000 has a rate of 1%, which equals $1,950. The next band from $250,000 to $400,000 has a rate of 1.5%, which equals $2,250. And the balance remaining falls into the band with a 2% rate, so the last $150,000 multiplied by 2% equals $3,000. This gives us a total provincial land transfer tax of $7,475. But now we have to add the municipal land transfer tax. Here is the schedule of municipal land transfer tax in Toronto. The first $55,000 is charged 0.5%, which equals $275. The next band from $55,000 to $400,000 has a rate of 1%, which equals $3,450. And the balance remaining falls into the last band, so we take $150,000 and multiply that by 2%, which equals $3,000. That gives us a total municipal land transfer tax of $6,725. So if you bought a home in Ontario that wasn't in Toronto, the land transfer tax would be $7,475. But if you bought a home in Toronto for the same price, you would add $6,725 in municipal tax to end up with $14,200 in combined land transfer taxes. Every province and territory has their own rates of taxes or fees. Here are the estimates for a few other jurisdictions across Canada. As we saw, BC would be $9,000. We also saw that Alberta would only be $300. Saskatchewan would be $1,650. Manitoba would be $8,670. In Ontario, but excluding Toronto, we would pay $7,475, and if we were in Toronto, that jumps to $14,200. Quebec would be $6,750 excluding Montreal. Montreal is a bit different at $7,000. New Brunswick would be $5,500, and finally, Newfoundland would be $2,298. Also note that a 15% foreign buyer's tax has recently been announced in both the Greater Vancouver Regional District and the province of Ontario. If you are subject to this tax, that would add another $82,500 to your land transfer tax bill in these jurisdictions. One last note, the numbers shown in this video don't represent all of the closing costs applicable when buying a home, and there are certain rebates that may be available to first-time homebuyers or purchasers of newly built homes. Make sure to do your research or consult with a professional about the specifics for your own situation.